Welcome to the DFS Express. I am your host, the Daily Fantasy Sniper, and this is I'm going to call it a new old podcast. New in that I am not using the DFS Express to only talk about MMA anymore. Going to kind of branch out. This podcast will have MMA specific episodes, but I'm also going to do slate breakdowns for other sports. Off the top of my head, soccer, football when it comes back around, the occasional NHL slate, kind of whatever I'm playing and want to talk about, I'm going to jump on and do an episode of that. Also, like this episode, after I get through this intro, is going to be just general commentary, thoughts about daily fantasy, and then some interviews. I know a bunch of interesting people in the industry, going to sit down, have a couple conversations with them, and hopefully be entertaining. So please subscribe to this podcast both on YouTube and on iTunes. If you're watching on YouTube, please give me the good old thumbs up. I do appreciate all that stuff. And you can give me a follow on Twitter at the DF Sniper. That being said, I want to get into what this episode, the title of, is. I really should have a title before I kind of give it that lead-in intro. But I want to talk about the payout structures in GPPs and just how ridiculous they're getting, specifically on DraftKings. I was just looking at a tournament. Now, this example I'm going to give is for soccer, but it doesn't matter where you look in the lobby. If you're looking at DraftKings GPPs, you will see these, grow the game tournaments in a lot of the fringe type sports, NASCAR, MMA, soccer. But it's a pretty common structure, at least for the last year of NFL as well, where you get 2x to anybody who cashes, which in general I like. But you're going 20% to first place, and then the drop-off is enormous. So, for example, the tournament that kind of got me on this rant, $50,000 prize pool, $10,000 to first place, second place, $3,000. You're losing $7,000, 70% by going first to second place. That is insane. It is optimal. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm assuming, well, hopefully there are some new people, but I think most people starting off listening to this podcast are more on the side of experienced DFS players, or they're not going to play DraftKings for the first time next week. Hopefully we will get there. But we know these tournaments, you need to mass multi-enter them to maximize your chances. Otherwise, you should be playing your single entries and your 3-entry maxes. And to be fair, those are some of my favorite tournaments because I'm not rolling out 150 lineups. I usually, for most slates, play between 10 and 20, and I play the 3-entry max, the single entries, etc., etc. That being said, this tournament's 88 entries max, $20 a pop, looking at about $1,700. I think it's $1,760 exactly. If you came in third place, you cashed one lineup at third place, $1,500. That's minus EV for finishing third place in a GPP. That is insanity. It's not good for your bankroll. DraftKings, I think, is seeing more overlay as my suspect. There was overlay in today's UEFA Champions League slate, which they were hoping to get a good crowd from because NBA is going on the All-Star break right now. So people should have been playing, but these GPPs, people aren't playing them. You need to make flatter payout structures. Why can't we have $5,000 up top to first? That's plenty good for hitting first place. And second place, $4,000, $3,500. And there's still probably even more money to play around to give these middle range, payouts that if you're finishing in between the 100 and 200 range, you're making $50. You're making 2.5x for finishing top, like 5% of the field. It's not a good way to build your bankroll. I think DraftKings is behind in that more and more players are becoming educated and are not going to, they're looking to make money. They're not going to waste bankroll on that. Maybe in NFL and NBA, you get more and more casuals who are willing to play that lottery ticket type of entry. And that's fine if you want to play it. Just know it's a lottery ticket. And I have no problem playing that. I do it once in a while. But to grow the game, as these are branded on DraftKings, with these type of tournaments is absolutely ludicrous. It's not how we grow the game, especially the sports that I'm into the most, that I am an advocate for. Soccer and MMA are where I do the best, make the most money. NASCAR probably behind that, which I'll do some podcasts on NASCAR as well. It's not how we're going to get more users in. It just isn't. And I hope DraftKings sees that. There are plenty of people in the community yelling and screaming. Plenty who are more well-known than me. I think as we start to see more and more overlay, they'll get away from these tournaments. But what my concern is that they'll see the overlay and they'll bump down the contest as a whole. They'll say, well, we offered $10,000 up front and nobody wanted to play. Well, that's not the problem. The problem is you have a more educated user base who does not want this. This might apply to NFL. It's not the same in these other sports, and really a change needs to happen. I'm not going to play this tournament, this Grow the Game, the next EPL slate we have. I hope you don't. If you see contests like that, don't play them. I know a lot of people will get tempted if there's massive overlay and you start weighing risk versus reward, and I get that, but the only way we're going to see change is to stop playing these contests. So when you go to enter GPPs, make sure, if you don't already, you're looking at the payout structure. How much does first get paid? How much does the top 10 get paid? Roto Grinders has this stuff built into their browser extensions. Use them. Now, obviously, I don't work for RG. I work for the DFS Army, but that web extension really helps. I would definitely recommend that. So that's kind of my quick rant on payout structures. Just on FanDuel, I don't play as much FanDuel because I focus on those niche sports, which FanDuel just does a terrible job of actually having decent contests for them. I might start looking over there a little bit, even though if they're lower dollar, and I play lower volume, I might spread out a little bit just because it makes more sense. There's other issues on FanDuel. Mostly it's the scoring over there on some sports, but these payout structure, and FanDuel does have payout structure issues as well, but the one that got me set off was DraftKings, and I think that's a good first mini rant for the DFS Express. Again, please like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to keep these short and sweet as the title would imply. Just quick commentary on the industry here. Probably slate breakdown coming up in the next episode as we have UFC Prague on deck. Hope you guys enjoy. Again, please also give me a follow on Twitter and let me know what you think of the episode and what I'm trying out here. So, final reminder, guys, make sure you are paying attention to those payout structures on DraftKings and being a smart DFS player. Catch you next time.